first month of the year 2020, the big question is, what did we really achieve in 2019 in the housing and finance sector? Housing is the most effective sector of the economy of most developed nations, also an important tool for stimulating growth. It was Goldman Sachs who first predicted that Nigeria's economy will be among the top 20 economies of the world by 2020. Excited by this prediction, the federal government began to reform its development strategies. It is worthy of note that in more advanced countries like the United States of America, Britain and Canada, the housing sector contributes between 30 to 70% of their gross domestic product. The quality and quantity of available housing stock in any country is also a well-accepted indices of a country's level of development and quality of life. The government should therefore pay particular attention to the provision of affordable housing. As we reflect on these and chart new way forward for the rest of the month, it is imperative to know that affordable housing is achievable in Nigeria and housing for all can still be achieved. This is Housing Development, your go-to source for trending housing information. I am Flora Ani, your housing diva. Let's see the news making rounds in the housing sector.
The Housing Development Advocacy Network has urged the federal government to keep off from direct construction of housing and infrastructure in 2020 to avoid clash of interest and to achieve a prosperous housing sector. Rather, government has been told to focus solely on its core responsibilities of creating an enabling environment for business and investment to thrive through effective legislation and enforcement of policy. According to the group, such policy move will spur a derivative market that allows asset-backed investments in infrastructure and housing to grow, as well as attract requisite investments from local and foreign investors. HTAN stated this in its Housing Agenda report for the year 2020. The report released by its president, Festus Adebayo, alerted the federal government on global best practices, stressing that it should be fixated in creating incentives that will stimulate infrastructure and housing development. The Committee on the Review of Sales of Kwara Government Property from 1999 to date has declared that there is no proof of payment or right of occupancy on the expanse of land where late Dr. Olushola Saraki built his old people's home in Ilorin. Senator Makanjola Ajadi, the chairman of the committee, disclosed this in Ilorin while briefing newsmen on the controversy surrounding government's reclamation of the Ile Arugbo land. Reports state that the building on the land opposite late Dr. Olushola Saraki's house in Ilorin was reclaimed by the government while the building on it, known as Ile Arugbo, was demolished. According to Ajadi, the committee discovered that there is foundation on the land with erected columns at varying areas of the larger segment of the land. The continent's biggest housing news platform, AfricaHousingNews.com, has named the governors of Kaduna and Borno states as its housing-friendly governors of the year. The widely read Housing News Hub says the award is in recognition of the giant strides of the two governors in the provision of affordable housing for their citizens and their involvement of the private sector in ensuring a huge reduction of the housing deficit in the country. It will be recalled that Madam Nasiru Ahmad El-Rufai of Kaduna State and Babagana Omar Zulum of Borno State were adjudged by real estate industry watchers to have performed well in the delivery of affordable housing in their state in 2019. AfricaHousingNews.com is the biggest housing portal in Africa and is powered by Housing Development Program on AIT and Housing Program on TVC.
You can read the full details of the news and others on www.africanhousingnews.com. Every child deserves a happy, healthy childhood and the opportunity to build a brighter future. A real estate guru, engineer Emmanuel Mbaka, recently built houses for orphans in Abia State with his Canadian partners. The commissioning ceremony, which witnessed a lot of dignitaries from all parts of Nigeria, was commissioned by Archbishop Emeritus Cardinal John Onayekan. Take a look.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Platinum Mortgage Bank Limited, Engineer Emmanuel Mbaka, who is one of the leading practitioners in the real estate industry, on the 1st of January 2020 commissioned an orphanage home and school recently built from a collaboration between the Emmanuel Mbaka Foundation and the Wanted Children Foundation for Orphans in Eluama Community, Abia State. The occasion took off with a church service which was attended by dignitaries and residents of the Eluama community. Speaking at the church mass, Engineer Mbaka thanked all that came to witness the event, while also introducing his Canadian partner on the project, Mr. Stephen Anderson.
It's indeed a pleasure that we are here today. Let me first of all thank His Eminence for accepting to be Eluama. Moving forward, Your Eminence is now a friend of Eluama. I've seen all of you appreciate one thing, the fact that you left everything you're doing to be here with us on the first day of the first month of 2020. It is indeed very remarkable for us. Being part of charity and to start your year with charity, I think is a thing of joy. Permit me again to please introduce Mr. Steve Anderson. Steve Anderson was the one who had the passion to look after children. This is something very remarkable. These people are from Canada, all the way from Canada, and they find themselves in Eluama without going to Abuja or Lagos. They came to Eluama.
After the church service, all participants, dignitaries present, and beneficiaries of the project proceeded to the venue of the Orphanage Home and School for the commissioning of the project. The Orphanage Home and School was blessed by Archbishop John Onayekon and commissioned by Bishop Solomon Amatu, the Archbishop of Okigwe Diocese.
Their shelter when they are at home, their companion when they are away, and their welcome guests when they return. And at last, receive them into the dwelling place you have prepared for them in your Father's house in paradise, where you live and reign forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
In an interview with House and Development, Steve Anderson, representing the Canadian Board of Western Canada, spoke on how they came together for the project.
I think it was only inevitable that our foundation and his foundation would connect at some time, because that's what we do. We do it with children. He does it with communities and at a different level. We connected, we became aware of each other, we had some conversation. He liked what we did, we loved what he did, and so we had conversations about the idea of a children's home, creating a family rather than just throwing food at orphan children. What about rebuilding them and helping them to become valued members of a society? They're not castaways, they're very smart children, and they do very, very well.
He also called on well-to-do Nigerians to invest in Nigeria's future by investing in children.
For those of you that have means, as my friend Emmanuel Mbaka has said, those of you who had means, turn around and look around you and see where you can invest in Nigeria's tomorrow. Because Nigeria's tomorrow is not cocoa, it's not iron ore, it's not oil, it's Nigeria's children. That's Nigeria's tomorrow. You don't do a good job there, you don't get a good tomorrow. You do a great job there, you get a great tomorrow.
The beneficiaries of the project, which are orphaned children, expressed their excitement, which they showed in form of music presentations.
We say welcome. Welcome to you, Africa. We say welcome. Welcome to you, our dear friends. May God be with you as you stay with us. 3, 4.
Housing Development also spoke with some participants and beneficiaries at the event.
My advice also to those who have been so well endowed, both with the material resources, spiritual resources, economic resources, emotional, psychological, educationally. For those who don't show this kind of a gesture, mine is to encourage them to draw a lesson from what Mbaka is doing. Because the essence of any gift God has given you is to employ it in rendering services to other human beings also.
I'm excited. I'm so excited because he's my boss, but I'm happy that we are doing this for God today. People should emulate from him. Not having money to hire talks. Not having money to force people to love you in your community. Use the money to empower people and help the less privileged to serve God through humanity, through charity. That is my message to everybody. And for Nigerians, that today there's hope for this country. Nobody should write off Nigeria, no matter what it is today. Nigeria is going to be great, whether we like it or not. Nigeria is our home. Nigeria is our country. We must salvage it, no matter what it is.
Today is a day, the first day of the year, and he decided to do a thing like this. Those people that people think they are unwanted human beings, he has made them to be wanted by the whole community, by the whole world. It's a thing to reckon with. If all the wealthy people in Nigeria behave like him, Nigeria will be better than USA. Nigeria will be better than Europe. Because he's doing a thing that most people can never dream of doing.
It gives me joy to see what Engineer Mbaka is doing. It is for all of us to emulate him, to follow in his good works. And as many Nigerians are, well endowed, very wealthy, rather than this just throwing parties around and using whatever God has blessed you with to seek public office when you're not going there to serve, but to perhaps serve your selfish interests. This event is reason for us to take a second look at our lives and ask ourselves indeed whether we're fulfilling the injunctions of God Almighty. This is indeed an occasion for us to do a rethink and see how we can turn the lives of other Nigerians around. I believe if we're there for each other, this country will be a better place for us all.
Abuja International Housing Show.
It's about the whole of Nigeria, the whole of West Africa. You have stakeholders coming from all over and in fact globally.
It's an excellent way of bringing thought leaders, investors
to come together and figure out ways to increase capacity in developing housing.
What better way to put smiles on the faces of the children this season? The future of a country is in our children, and we expect all the wealthy Nigerians to emulate this. A big thanks to Engineer Emmanuel Mbaka. The dreams of lower construction costs by many prospective home owners have once again become a nightmare, going by the fresh increase in the price of cement. What effect does this hike in price have on property developer, prospective home owners and sellers of this product? Watch this report.
These These are not the best of times for property developers and prospective homeowners, as prices of building materials, especially cement-based products, have hit the roof and substandard products are gaining ground in most popular markets. Increased prices of building and construction materials have the tendency of increasing the cost of prices of housing for both buying and renting purposes. A lot of Nigerians cannot boast of adequate housing, and the recent increase in the price of cement has further dwindled the chances of this happening. The new hike in cement price has lots of implications. Contractors will have to sit and renegotiate with their clients on ongoing projects, and people who are about to commence new construction projects will have to go back to their drawing board and review their costs. If the price hike in cement persists for a long time, housing projects will be delayed with increase in the cost of accommodation units. This compounds the problem of affordable housing in the country because it will eventually trickle down to block manufacturers and other commodity suppliers. Housing Development paid a visit to some cement distributors in Abuja to hear what they had to say about the recent increase in the price of cement. Mr. Eric Madu, who is a seller of cement, says the price has increased by 150 naira, which is affecting sales.
I just come now to take 300 bags of cement to deliver to my customer, and the ones I use on my production of block. I found out that the price is no longer what I bought it last week. So I asked my customer, by name Remiju Sazama Remikado Network. He said that they have increased 150 naira per bag. We usually buy 2,300, but now it's 2,450. So it's affecting us. We are pleading to the government of the country to help us so that people that want to build their house can build, the low-income earners and others can have house to occupy as their own.
He says he is hopeful that with time the prices will drop. For Mr. Ezema, a distributor, he says the price increased by 150 naira on 23rd of December 2019, which has led to slow sales.
The market is low, and because of the increase of the price, everything is down. You can see before it's very hard to have the one on our store, but because of the increase, that's why you have on the store. Before you distribute it on the customer, those that sell and those that building house, but because of the low turn up, that's why you have on our dump.
With this development, developers might have no other choice than to limit house and construction activities and also increase rent prices just to stay afloat. The effect of low construction activities will invariably lead to laying off of construction workers, and this further worsens the state of the economy. Cement plays a big role in construction because without it, no good building can be constructed. Hence, the recent hike must be looked into urgently if housing for all is to be achieved in Nigeria.
My name is Festus Adebayo, and I'm the President, Housing Development Advocacy Network. It is my pleasure to welcome all practitioners, all stakeholders in the Nigeria housing and construction industry to a brand new year, 2020. The special message I have for all of us as we move into a new year is a message of collaboration. It's a message that we should work together. This is the only way we can find a solution to all the outstanding bills in the National Assembly. This is the only way we can solve all the problems that is affecting private sector participation in housing development in Nigeria. I appreciate all your support in 2019, and I believe we can do more in 2020. Happy New Year.
You're watching Housing Development. At this stage, when the economy is in need of a boost, a reduction in the cost of cement will help to stimulate building work across the country. Now, Telma is standing by for the Voices on the Street segment. Hello, Telma.
Thank you, Flora. Today on Voice on the Street, we shall be talking to some civil servants to find out, with the recent increase in minimum wage, what kind of houses would a civil servant salary afford? We're going to be asking them within the range of 7 million naira, 10 million naira, or 12 million naira. Let's get into the street and hear what they have to say.
My increment is not up to 20,000 naira, it's not even up to 15,000 naira, it's not even up to 13,000 naira. But the issue is that there are no houses. affordable houses for that matter. When we're talking affordable houses, we're talking houses that you can just, within their range of salary, you can go down and negotiate. All the houses around now is, on top of the roof. And there's only politicians that can buy those houses. I don't think any public servant can do that.
Before the increment in the salary, the NHF contribution has been on monthly. But up to now, I've not seen the reality of it, so to speak. But now, I think they can deduct more so that the dream can be achieved earlier than earlier scheduled. Since we have more money now, they should deduct more and they should make it real. Make it real in terms of they should give us the benefit due to it, because all along we've been contributing monthly without any benefit manifesting.
So as far as I'm concerned, the salary of the civil servant is nothing to write home about. And when it comes to housing, the increase cannot go anywhere. Though the government have tried, they have listened to the cry of the general public, Nigeria being the headquarters of poverty, well, this is a right move in the right direction. But then it is a far cry from reality. You look at what is happening, inflation has eaten up all of that. It can't even afford nothing. So there is need for federal government to harmonize the salary structure. You find a civil servant who is supposed to be supervising a parastatal. The officers in the ministry, co-ministry, are earning nothing compared to those in the parastatals. So there is need to harmonize the salary of the civil servant and then still jack it up to be able to meet the housing need of the civil servants.
With the rate of inflation in the country, I don't think the salary cannot even take us home. We are just managing, patching here and there. 5 million, I think 5 million is still far away yes, maybe 3 million.
There you had it, different responses from different people. A lot of them feel that it is not realistic. Buying a house worth 7 million naira or 10 million naira or 12 million naira with the present salary structure of a civil servant is not realistic. Quite interesting, I must say. But let me take you back to Flora Annie in the studio. My name is Nomso Thelma.
Abuja International Housing Show brings an amazing opportunity to exhibit, network, develop new business relationships, and make sales. Here are things you must know about Abuja International Housing Show. The Abuja International Housing Show is Africa's biggest building and construction show, with more than 15,000 participants and over 400 exhibitors from 21 countries. Its large international participation provides excellent opportunities for global sharing of knowledge, expertise, products, and best practices. Abuja International Housing Show brings together industry leaders, investors, buyers, and entrepreneurs to develop markets and business partnerships. The event gives you access to leading-edge technical information, equipment exhibition, and valuable new professional contacts from around the world. It brings participants opportunity to introduce new products and meet the right buyers. The event has paraded the highest number of professionals and government functionaries, including the Vice President, Senate Presidents, State Governors, Ministers, members of the National Assembly, among others. The event creates opportunities for direct engagement with financiers, potential partners, and investors from outside Nigeria. Abuja International Housing Show, the largest housing expo in Africa.
That is the much I can bring on today because of time. Join me next week for another informative episode. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube page on Housing TV Africa and follow us on Facebook via Housing Development Program and on Twitter at Housing Program. I remain Flora Ani, your Housing Diva.